Do your emotions cloud your judgment? Welcome to day 1208 of What You Up To Now. Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here, documenting and sharing my journey online as I transition from the brick and mortar corporate world of business, where I spent, over a quarter century in corporate America, 47 probably plus years now, running my own businesses in different industries, as well as creating and running businesses with other people. So lots and lots of business experience, lots and lots of crazy life experiences. And a few years ago, I got divorced, and I had the opportunity, and it was definitely an opportunity, to divest myself of all my previous doings in businesses that I had mostly with my ex-husband, and move on to something I was curious about, something I was interested in. And I'd always been interested in the online world, so I thought, why don't I check it out? So in 2017, I became a ClickFunnels certified partner, did some things with in ClickFunnels and with that, but it was my way of getting a structured way of learning about how to go online, how to be in business online successfully. Now, does that mean I avoided all the pitfalls and traps that most everybody else falls into when they go online? No, absolutely not. I stepped in all those traps and had to get myself out of them, which adds to my experience in terms of what does and doesn't work, what you do and do not need to do, the things that you can skip, the rabbit holes you don't need to go down, depending on what it is that you want to do, want to be, want to have, what you want to accomplish through your offline and online endeavors. I am squeaking back into the offline world again this year because I think it's absolutely positively essential that entrepreneurs don't just do everything online. I've been a huge proponent for adding an online component to your business long before COVID, and I, in my offline businesses, dabbled very minimally because I didn't have the time and energy, and I didn't hire the resources because I didn't think of it back then, to actually do some of the things that I could have and should have been doing as soon as the internet came into play. But I remember the days when the internet just started and people wondered if it was going to stick around or if it was just going to be for us engineers to share information. And I think it morphed into more than most of us thought it was going to in the beginning. And so I decided I would hop on and figure it out. And as I was figuring it out, I was encouraged to share my journey, document my journey, share what's working, what's not, the wins, the losses, all the good, the bad, and the ugly. And that's what I've been doing. A lot of times I just hop on here and I talk about exactly what I did for content creation, or what I'm doing right now, what projects I'm working on. And some of them are kind of secret right now, so I'm not sharing them. So it sounds like I'm not doing very much, but there's a ton going on in the background. And as it becomes appropriate to share it, I will share those things. But know that I'm always doing stuff in the background, even if I'm not talking about it every day. So today, let's talk about the content that I did and then some projects and things that I'm working on. Number one, our annual challenge this year is to do one thing every day that centers you. It says is in the title, or me. The title's actually wearing off. I think it's funny. These books I obviously use and do right along with the people when I'm doing a challenge. So today it was about beauty comes from within, and that the best kind of beauty comes from within, and it comes from strength, courage, and dignity. So we were actually rating ourselves on a scale of 1 to 10 for strength, courage, and dignity. How much strength do we think we have from a scale of 1 to 10? How much courage do we think we have on a scale of 1 to 10? And how much dignity do we think we have on a scale of 1 to 10? And I actually shared those numbers. I did them live when I was doing the video, and shared those in my video. So that was interesting. I like it when I can do the activity or the action or talk about what I'm going to do in the video in the morning, because I think it does a couple of things. Number one, it causes me to commit to actually doing the thing that we're talking about in the challenge. And these are just little things, right? How long did it take me to rate myself? Maybe 25 seconds if I was being slow about it. And I have had it done. So I've already accomplished something in the day that I otherwise might not have. And so I like being able to do it right along with everybody as I'm sharing the challenge. So that was our All About You 365-day challenge, to do one thing every day that centers us. Our Supersize Your Business challenge was actually recommended to me by Alicia R. McLean. She's a lady that I am friends with on LinkedIn. And she said, hey, have you ever done Emotion Clouds Judgment? And I said, no, I don't think I've ever done it. And I actually didn't even go back and look, because as I was looking into it and finding that the etymology and the origin of it, I realized I really haven't done it. I've done similar things that mean something similar, but never Emotions Clouds Judgment. And so I shared that, and I didn't just share where it came from. It can date back to the 15th century, but how people use it and the scientific proof and studies and sayings and things that are associated with that, but the science behind proving that our emotions absolutely positively do cloud our judgment. So me, I know my emotions cloud my judgment. I'm not even going to pretend I don't. But a lot of people, me included when I was younger, thought I was this rational, subjective, objective decision maker in all things, and it's absolutely positively not true. All of us are impacted by at least 9 different ways that emotions impact and cloud our reasoning, our judgment, our ability to even see things that are around us in the world. It explains a lot of the crazy situation that the media and politicians are presenting as if it's the way America is. I really, one of the biggest things I brought back with me from my travels is confidence that the American people are the same amazing American resilient human beings that they've always been, and the nonsense that we're seeing in the media and in social media and on TV and reporting, which is absolutely not reporting, it's 100% propaganda and BS, is not true. The American people are the same amazing people they've always been, hardworking, down to earth, strong, excellent core values, etc. They're not a bunch of shysters infighting about race and craziness. They're just not. We're not. Human beings are not. At least American human beings are not. And despite what politicians and the media try to purport, it's not happening. So don't be deluded into thinking that it is. Don't be deluded. And that's an emotional thing, right? Emotionally, if we watch the news and the media all the time, we're being fed what they want us to see. And it's pretty much all lies and nonsense to cover up the things that they don't want us to see. And it's long past time we stood up and said, no, stop the insanity. Some of us quit watching and paying attention to the lies decades ago. And we think for ourselves, we choose for ourselves, we do what is right for us and our family and those we love and care about and those we're positively trying to impact and create the change we're trying to create in the world. And everybody else is just being flim-flammed around by their emotions, thinking that they're making their choices based on facts and sound reasoning. And I saw this on the internet, or I saw this on the CNN, therefore it must be true. I saw it on PBS, therefore by God it must be true. So we have to remember that emotion absolutely positively 100% does cloud our judgment in a lot more ways than we even realize. That's what I got a lot out of today. I get something out of everything I do, right? I learn something from everything I share. Otherwise, I wouldn't do it. If I didn't learn every day by doing and sharing the Supersize Your Business idioms, I would have stopped doing them hundreds and hundreds of idioms ago. I think we're up to 900 and some idioms already. I started counting after a long time, and then I lost a section of them, so I lost count. But I think I'm recounting, and I think it was at 800 and some today. So that means I've done at least 900 of them. I always think I'm going to stop at a milestone, and then I actually enjoy learning and creatively thinking about, well, how does this apply to business, or how could this apply to somebody who's wanting to grow their business? Because some are a big stretch, but we know that the people we interact with, some of them are thinking these things. Some of them have been impacted by these idioms and expressions a lot more than I have. There's some I've never even heard of, but somebody will say it and I'll be like, geez, I wonder where they got that and what that means. Especially traveling, you hear and you find a lot more ways people describe things than in our own little cocoon. And so after a year of not traveling, it was absolutely fantastic to get the heck out of Dodge and travel around and reinforce for me that the world is not broken. America is not broken as much as people try to tell us it is. It's just all for political gain and manipulation and greed, and it's really pathetic. It's actually really pathetic. And so what do I do when things are pathetic and wrong? I stand up for what I believe in, and I choose not to participate in any of the doubt, worry, fear, lies, crap that's going on. I just don't participate in it. I've got too many things to do to be bogged down in that kind of nonsense. All right, so what am I working on? I am working on a couple of very cool projects that I'm super excited about. And I wish I could talk about them, but I'm not allowed to because I have confidentiality agreements with the people that I'm involved with. But down the road, we're going to see some interesting things and some, for me, going back to some of my original roots, some of the things that I love doing and love creating in the world. So that's all I'm going to say right now. Go out, have an absolutely amazing day. I am still catching up from being gone and from traveling, but I have like a renewed energy and a renewed sense of faith and purpose in my fellow Americans. And I think that is it's kind of what my spirit needed. My daughter's like, did you notice that you've been kind of negative and down on people lately? I'm like, no, I don't really feel like I'm that way. She's like, oh yeah. And I'm like, okay. She goes, it's totally different. It was really good for you to travel. So those that love us tell us the truth, or those who see us best tell us the truth, and we need to remember to listen to them. All right, have an awesome day. If I can help you in any way, if you have a question, a burning question that you just can't find the answer to, or you don't know who to ask, you want to bounce something off of, I am still making this offer. I don't know why I do, because I'm so busy, it's hard to do, but just direct message me or hit me up in the comments below. I will set you in the right direction. I might not have the answer, but I guarantee I know someone or something to absolutely positively get you moving in the direction you need to go, to take that next step so that you don't feel stuck. One of the worst feelings I've ever had in my life is when I first hopped online and I would get stuck on something. I was learning how to do something in a very regimented, formatted way, but it was timed so that you couldn't move on faster than the information was released to you. But once in a while, I think about twice during it, I got stuck on something I couldn't figure out. I knew I should be able to figure it out. I knew the answer was there somewhere, and I looked and searched and Googled and did all kinds of things because I felt like I had to figure it out myself. And it wasn't until I typed in and asked the question. I actually had a group that I could ask, but I was new and I was kind of afraid and I didn't want to look stupid, so I wouldn't ask. And I would struggle with it for about a week or two, and then I would get up the guts and the courage to type in the question and ask, only to have the answer appear to me before I even could get an answer from anyone else, because I always had the answer. I was just blocking it for some reason. And so that's why I say sometimes all you have to do is ask the question, and wow, the answer for you magically appears. All right, have an awesome day. I will, of course, be with you tomorrow talking about what am I doing now as I transition from the brick and mortar world to the online world, and a little bit of carryover back and forth, because I think it's fun. I've always been I'm going to do both. I remember my first job in corporate America was with Procter & Gamble, and I wanted to be in the engineering operations side of the business as well as the marketing side of the business. And I was basically told, we have two tracks here. You come in the marketing track, or you come in the manufacturing operations track. There is no intermerging of those. And I did find out that back then anyway, P&G and a lot of big companies have what I call silos. And now I think people have written books about silos, but it always reminded me of silos lined up next to each other, and they don't interact, they don't talk, they don't cross communicate until you get to a really high level, like all of the grain gets dumped in the truck. So I had a lot of firsthand experience with that because I couldn't cross over, but I've always wanted to cross over and bring things together that don't necessarily intuitively seem like they go together. All right, have an awesome day. I'll, of course, be with you tomorrow.